here, we queer, we here, we queer.
Well, the late gay anti-apartheid freedom fighter Simon Nkoli led the first gay pride march in Africa on the 13th of October 1990. Now, the Market Theatre will showcase Nkoli, the Vogue Opera, and being about the life of the activist of the LGBTQI+ community. Nkoli was imprisoned for 4 years in the famous Delmas Treason trial. His activism has made South Africa the first country in the world to explicitly protect sexual minorities. We're now joined by Siya Motloung, who plays Simon, and Phillip Miller, who is the music composer and director for the show, to tell us more. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Simon.
Good stuff.
Hi, my name is Siya Motloung. I'm playing the role of Simon in Vogue Opera.
And I'm sure it must have been a nerve-wracking experience for you to step in the shoes of Simon Nkoli, hey?
It is indeed nerve-wracking because it comes with a lot of responsibility, vocally,
yes.
mentally, emotionally, and also understanding who Nkoli was. It's really a lot.
And also the responsibility of accurately telling the story of Simon Nkoli, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. So how did that gig come about? I mean, was it your first acting gig?
Professionally, yes.
Okay.
But I've been gigging around. I was recommended to by Uyanda. I'd like to mention his name. And then he brought me to this wonderful person to come and step into the role of Nkoli. Yeah.
So what aspects of Simon Nkoli's life resonated with you the most?
Speaking of that, yesterday there was this aria that he composed that really touched me, because Nkoli has aspects in life where I also contribute or might have in my life, which is being femme, being masculine, being responsible. So he's actually a mirror, or I'm actually the mirror because I'm the younger one, actually. Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Now, Philip,
yes,
let's talk about how you managed to, so effectively capture the essence and significance of Simon Nkoli's story through music.
Yes, and people, it's almost 4 years of work, a lot of research. I did happen to be around, a young person at that time, but around to hear Simon speak. I was really always inspired by him as a role model at that point in my life, just kind of also finding my sexuality and all of those things. So I was very drawn to Simon, partly because I actually experienced Simon as an activist. And so a lot of research, then a lot of creative thinking around how to tell his story through music, but not just, let's say, more the conventional opera. How do you make it something that is popular and that will connect to a different audience?
Now, take us through the musical style that you adopted in this production.
Exactly. So I thought about first Simon, actually, he loved that one of the things when he was in jail, he was part of the Delmas Treason trial.
Yeah.
When he was in jail for almost 4 years, one of the things, he wrote many letters, and he used to write a lot about pop music, because eventually he used to listen to the top 20 and write down the songs. He loved disco. So, and he loved Brenda. And I thought, first, let's use disco. But then I thought, well, let's see what music's going on around now. And I discovered really this amazing music performance form called voguing. And for viewership, you don't know, it is really a kind of way in which you put on a costume or something, you walk the ramp, a bit like a fashion ramp, but you also dance, incredible forms of dancing. And there's also great particular kinds of music beats. So it's sort of house music a bit. So I thought, let me pull that kind of thing into this with some beautiful opera and singing, and then also protest song, because of course Simon was an activist. Yeah.
And just before we started the interview, just played a snippet, of this movie, and there was a drum beat that was so like it caught everybody's attention.
Yeah, I mean that drum beat is based on the toi toi, and it was also about how do you take those kinds of sounds that are almost part of us, and then how do you make it musical in a different kind of way? Yeah.
Now, Siya, as you were acting out the role of Simon Nkoli, did you in your mind think of the enormous task that you're playing? I mean, Simon Nkoli was a world-renowned activist, and this is I would say, a very political story, a social-political story. Did you have that in mind, or you're simply doing a job as an actor?
Well, if I were to correct it, it's my first time doing the role.
Yes.
So, obviously, I need to pull up the aspects of knowing what the political statement Sadala and the political statement Samanje, and putting myself into Simon Nkoli, understanding what he wanted back then and implying it right now musically and acting it wise. So
Sure, everybody knows that Simon Nkoli stood up for the rights of the LGBTQI plus community and ensuring that the rights of that community are respected. What message are you hoping the audience will take away from this?
I'm hoping that people get to understand that there were activists back then who were not vocal enough about their queerness, and me playing this role, I'm guessing that people will understand it more better because there've been people who've played in the role and they've shared their story. And I'm hoping bring a different aspect of Simon Nkoli, and also including his music that is quite complex, quite firm, quite masculine. So it's a give and take kind of thing, that you need to stand your ground and be firm and be flamboyant at the same time, because you need people to gel with you. And while they gel with you, you also need to stand your ground.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, beautiful story this is. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great
Thanks
stuff.
so much.
Well, that was actor Siya Motloung and music composer Phillip Miller talking to us about the show Nkoli, the Vogue Opera, about the life of the late anti-apartheid freedom fighter Simon Nkoli.